Super Dave here with another exciting review, and today in episode 12 of Figures, Playsets, and Accessories that go well with MOTU Classics, we're looking at two action figures today. One is the Super 7 first version, like comic book version of Conan the Barbarian, and then we're going to be looking at McFarland's Azrael by DC Multiverse. And we're looking to these two characters as figures that could go along with MOTU. I think Conan pretty much will stay Conan, keep his name and be that character in MOTU Classics in my world. But Azrael, we're going to be revealing in just a minute, who I chose out of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Character Guide and World Compendium. Which character did I choose for Azrael? Find out in just a minute. We're first going to look at Conan the Barbarian by Super 7. And if you notice below, if you're watching with a phone, you can pick down there below in the description the timestamps to skip on over to the other action figure, Azrael, or to the articulation of either figure, or even to the photo gallery at the end. But let's go ahead and break open our Conan the Barbarian. And let's go ahead and take him out of the box. This is supposed to be a really nice collector box by Super 7 for their Ultimates line. And there's the slip cover there. To the death! He was a fighter. He was a barbarian in a prehistoric time. I think he goes well, especially seeing that He-Man is kind of patterned after Conan to begin with in some opinions and areas. But let's take off this slip cover and see the figure inside. Wow, there he is. The ultimate figure. It comes with two heads and accessories. Conan the Barbarian, really cool looking. Wow, I'm not sure if you'll be able to read that or not, but there is some, there we go. If you want to read that, you can pause it and read that. But let's go ahead and break him open, get him out of this package, and check out Conan the Barbarian, the comic book edition. And here is our barbarian himself, Conan. Many believe that he was the inspiration for He-Man to begin with, especially when they chose him over some of the other incarnations that were considered. And this guy was the hero for many in his prehistoric time. And he is just cool. He's basically built exactly like a MOTU Classics action figure that Mattel started back in 2008. And he is just a really cool figure. Let's take a look at him up close here just for a moment. He does come with two head sculpts, but there's the first one with almost an angry and yelling, shouting type face. So that's really cool. And that hair, that wavy hair with a black wash with some blue mingled in there as well. And again, that's the same buck that the MOTU Classics used, the articulation, especially in the later years when they added the hinged wrist, which we'll look at in just a moment. But let's first look at his accessories. Now, I'll go ahead and mention this one while we're zoomed in here. He has this little side-armed little knife that looks like it's already sheathed, and it plugs in right there beside his hip, as you saw, and it holds pretty securely there. And so that's a nice little touch. That's something we didn't see on MOTU, any kind of holstered devices on the loincloth area here. But that's really cool. And then he also comes with this necklace here that you're familiar with if you followed him in some of the older comic stories. Of course, his helmet is sporting those horns, and this helmet is non-removable. Going on down here, look at those legs and feet. They're unique. The only thing we've seen come even close to this was our Olar, the Savage He-Man, who had bare feet. Well, this Conan has sandaled feet, but you can see the bare toes. So that's a really neat touch. That's unique to this figure compared to our Masters of the Universe. You can see some of the muscle definition in the calves, kind of like you could in Demo Man as well as Olar. Now let's take a look at the rest of Conan's accessories. Conan comes with this cool sword with a nice simple silver paint deco with some shimmering in there and a bronzish gold hilt, which is really nice. He also comes with a wooden stick with a silver type wiring that goes around it with a arrowhead on the top, similar to what Olar came with in Masters Universe, our Savage He-Man, but it has those spikes around it at the top. And Super 7 also said because there were so many delays with this figure that they went ahead and included a bonus, a spear with blood on the end of it, as well as a sword, just like the first one, but with blood spatters on it. So that's pretty cool that they packaged these bonuses with their figure. Conan also comes, like I mentioned, with a second head sculpt, more of a calm looking head and just a very nice looking head sculpt. Again, the paint deco is very well done. The shading in the face and the blue eyes, everything looks really well done. That wavy, again, black hair with the wash, with the bluish highlights in there, very comic book-esque. And so that rounds out the accessories for our Conan the Barbarian. Now let's look at his articulation. You'll pretty much be familiar with this if you are a Masters of the Universe collector, but his head will go down about that much. It will not go up because of the hair. It's not going to go side to side very much either because of the hair, and there's not much pivoting involved either, so not a lot of movement in the head area. Arms are just like our Masters Universe Classics, single jointed elbow, bicep swivel, going on 360, good range of motion with that shoulder. Conan also has the hinged wrist that bend back and forth and swivel. He's got the ab crunch feature where he's able to crunch forward that much. He's able to bend back about that much. And of course he will go side to side without knocking off his little sheathed bladed dagger there. And then of course his legs, now that's going to knock it off when I do that. But with his legs he does have the ability to split all the way, just like most of the Masters figures did. It has that thigh swivel there, single jointed knees. He's going to be able to get a full seated position. So if you want him to ride some of your Masters Universe vehicles, he could do that, or even ride King Grayskull's Battle Lion. He could do that. Granger. He does not have boot cup. That's one articulation he's missing just because of the way they did the legs, of course, but he's got excellent ability to do tiptoes there with those feet. Go up about that far. And he has very good rockers. So that's excellent, excellent, excellent. And so very simple, but yet functional and very well done articulation for our Conan. All you have to do is pop off this head here, and of course that necklace is removable. If you would like to remove it there, you could, but then you're able to just pop on the next head like so, and then you have a more serious Conan the Barbarian. And those of you who have watched my Vicron video, you know that I used an extra Conan the Barbarian from Super 7's buck and body to make this customized He-Man with the Vicron chest armor and the Olar head, the vintage He-Man head that came with Olar rather, and then of course he's got everything else basically the same body-wise other than the knees down. I borrowed those legs off a different figure, and you want check out that video if you'd like to see more about that. But there you have it, my friends. You have your Conan right there beside He-Man, and there you have it, my friends, Conan the Barbarian, along with some other action figures back there that I think go well with MOTU Classics. Some of them I've covered, some of them I haven't. Of course, there's Vicron back there. He is a MOTU Classics, but some of these other characters are not, but I think go well with this collection of figures, just like this Conan does. Of course, there'll be some photos of this guy at the end of the video. It is time for us to look at our DC Multiverse character by McFarland, Azrael. He's a vigilante character that made appearances in the comic books. I think his first one, His original name was Jean-Paul Valley, also appeared as Michael Washington Lane, and even made an appearance as a character in the Gotham TV series as Theo Galavan. But in the latest editions, he's known as Jean-Paul Valley. And he came with a little bio card that says he was also a Knight of the Order of St. Dumas. So some of you that follow his character in the DC universe will be familiar with those. And so he's a vigilante that's sometime an ally to Batman, but mostly, especially in the newer comics, he is an enemy, a anti-hero, which is a recruit of Joker, the Joker. But now it's time to reveal who he is in the MOTU universe. I chose to make him Scrollos. That's right, Scrollos, the keeper of the scrolls. And he was tasked with chronicling all the battles between good and evil in the universe. And he has infinite knowledge about Eternia. He's kind of a historian of all the wars and the heroes and the villains. And he wrote all the bio cards basically in the Masters of the Universe Classics. And even on this one, this He-Man bio card that came with Filmation version by Super 7, he even signs his name with a quill at the bottom of the scroll, Scrollos. And so that's who I'm going to have this character portray in my MOTU Classics to go along. He's a 7-inch tall figure, and he's just really cool. He comes with the accessories, first of all, with this neat little collector card with that beautiful artwork there, the same artwork that's on the back of the box. And then he even has a little bio in his data file card here, so you can read that if you would like. But that is his first accessory. And then he comes with a sword, a really nice sword. This sword is long and has fairly nice paint apps, and it has that silver glittery type look in it, as you see the reflection there. And then another cool accessory that he comes with is this flaming effect, which of course, which is really neat, that slides right onto the sword. So he's got a flaming sword at that. So that's really neat. Really cool accessory that comes with our Scrollos or Azrael character here. Really neat. And he also comes with a base that you can stand him up with, which is nice. Now let's take a look at his articulation. Scrollos has really good articulation. He's got the ability to move his faceplate up like that, and also it moves down about that much. But then also this whole section, hood and neck and all, is on a ball joint. So he's able to look up about that much. He's able to look down pretty much all the way there. And then he's able to tilt side to side, and that's really neat. And this hood is not removable without some manipulation, and then it would just reveal kind of like a part where that's plugged in to the top. That faceplate is pegged into a ball joint there. And so that is his head. It'll turn pretty much all the way around, scrubbing a little bit on that rubber hood. This is a rubbery material there on that hood, but it's really neat. And so that is nice. Going on to the arms, he's not going to be able to go up very far because it hits this barrier right here, this gold looking shoulder pad type armor that also has attached this cape type material. But he's just a really neat looking character, and I think he's neat as a DC character, but also as Scrollos in Master of the Universe. I think he just fits the bill here. He's got bicep swivel. He's not going to be able to do a full 360 with that joint, but he does have a little bit of a butterfly joint that just barely moves back and forth. This side doesn't have much better there, but you will be able to get all the way around with this side and be able to get even better than, just about better than 90 degrees there on that side. Single jointed elbows on this character, but still gets just at the 90 degree angle there. He's got hinges on his wrist and swivel, of course, so you'll be able to get pretty much any direction that you need there for that. And then moving on to his diaphragm, he's got that nice ball joint diaphragm, which I'm a really big fan of. He can turn side to side, go left to right, bend forward about that much, bend back about that much, and that also comes into play with his waist because that's like a ball joint as well, and he can bend backwards and forwards and side to side, even with that waist joint, and circular twist side to side circularly as well. Then his legs, he's got full split ability there with that neat little rubbery type loincloth coming down alongside there. He's got a little bit of thigh swivel, a little bit better than what some of the McFarland figures have. Double jointed knees. He's able to go up pretty good amount there, as well as go back all the way, as you can tell there. So he's got very flexible legs and is able to kick up about that much. So really nice articulation all the way around with this character. And then when you look at his feet here, he is able to go up about that much, go down not too much because it hits there a little bit, and he does have some rocker that goes back and forth a little bit. You have to kind of be careful with that. And then he's got also a toe hinge there to be able to articulate that toe. So that's really cool. He's got pretty good articulation across the board with this fella. Very nice. I think I like the articulation on this guy even better than some of the other McFarland characters that I've reviewed and looked at. But this is a very cool looking character, and he gets high marks for me. I think he's going to be a great Scrollos, because Scrollos also carried a sword, not necessarily a flaming sword, but we'll work that in somewhere, or just use that accessory with another figure. But that is really cool. And there you have it, Scrollos and Conan. Both figures that I think work well with MOTU Classics, and I'm going to be using this guy in my storyline as Scrollos. Really cool. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, comment if you enjoyed this video, or if you've got something to share, and we'll look forward to checking you next time on Super Dave Reviews.